Washington, the air was thick with tension, like before a storm. The House of Representatives had gathered for an emergency session dedicated to yet another Republican attempt to push through a bill limiting federal assistance programs. At first glance, just another political battle. But this day was different. The Democrats didn't yet know they were about to witness a moment that would go down in history as one of the most fierce and brilliant speeches ever delivered on Capitol Hill. And at the center of it all, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett from Texas, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, struggling to maintain a shaky majority and pass an initiative that would significantly reduce access to medical aid for low-income Americans, delivered a pompous speech. He spoke of traditional values, responsibility, and budget redistribution. The chamber was quiet. Everyone knew Johnson was nearing the end of his speech and preparing to call for a vote. But he didn't know that Crockett had already risen from her seat. At first, there was a faint rustle in the hall. Cameras turned. Jasmine walked toward the microphone with a straight back, a folder in her hand, and cold fire in her eyes. She wasn't rushing, but with every step, the tension grew. "Mr. Speaker," she began, looking Johnson straight in the eyes, "you just claimed that this bill is a manifestation of responsibility. I wonder, do you consider it responsible that in your home state of Louisiana, hundreds of thousands of families live below the poverty line, and yet you want to take away their last hope?" A murmur spread through the room. Johnson opened his mouth, but Crockett didn't give him a chance to speak. "You talk about morality while defending people who deny the results of the election," she continued. "You speak of family values, yet you vote against laws protecting women from domestic violence. Tell me, Mr. Johnson, where exactly does your morality begin and where does it end?" At the door of a lobbyist's office, Jasmine opened the folder. It wasn't just a dossier, it was an arsenal. "I brought numbers, facts, and letters from your constituents," she said, waving the documents. "Here's a woman from Baton Rouge, a mother of 3 who writes that if this bill passes, she'll lose her insurance. Here's a war veteran saying he'll have to choose between medication and food. Now please look into that camera, Mr. Johnson, and tell these people you're on their side." The room no longer murmured. It exploded. Some Democrats stood, others applauded, and many exchanged shocked looks. Crockett went on, "Texas speaks, and the word is truth." That day, Jasmine Crockett didn't just expose Mike Johnson. She showed that real power lies in honesty, courage, and standing up for those without a microphone. And the Democrats, even the most seasoned ones, were in shock. But it was a shock of respect, and no one doubted anymore. The name Crockett would go down in political history. Texas speaks, and the word is truth. The next morning, in the White House, the atmosphere was far from routine. The president was preparing for his daily briefing when Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary with a sharp gaze and an even sharper sense for public moods, approached him. "Have you seen Crockett's speech?" she asked, handing over a tablet. The president simply nodded. He had already watched clips before sunrise, ever since social media had erupted with shares and quotes. The video of Jasmine's speech had gained over 15 million views overnight. Even Republican-leaning networks were forced to admit the blow had been powerful. "She dismantled him," he said, not hiding his approval, "and did it with elegance. No yelling, just facts." Caroline raised an eyebrow. "Want me to amplify the effect at the briefing?" "No," he replied. I want you to make it clear. We hear the people, and we won't let these Republican puppeteers ruin the lives of working Americans. On CNN, a political analyst, barely hiding excitement, remarked, "We haven't seen anything like this in a long time. This wasn't just an attack. It was a surgically precise political takedown." Jasmine Crockett backed Mike Johnson into a corner with no chance of escape. She didn't speak like the opposition. She spoke like a leader. Fox News tried to soften the blow, but even their invited experts admitted that Johnson looked unconvincing. Some even whispered, maybe the GOP should consider replacing the speaker. Meanwhile, Crockett calmly sipped coffee in her office. She wasn't responding to dozens of media requests. Her assistant, Liana, had just informed her that MSNBC, BBC, and even Al Jazeera wanted to interview her. But Jasmine wasn't in a rush. "We're not in a hurry," she said. "This isn't a moment of glory. It's a moment for action." "What's next?" Liana asked. Crockett looked at a stack of new legislative proposals and slowly, with a confident smile, replied, "Next, they'll learn I didn't come here to be a loud voice. I came to change the rules of the game." That same evening, when Johnson finally appeared at a press conference, a journalist asked a simple question. "Mr. Speaker, after yesterday's speech by Crockett, do you still believe your arguments about the budget hold weight?" Johnson froze. He blinked, cleared his throat, and said nothing coherent. And at that moment, America understood. Jasmine Crockett was not just a congresswoman. She was a new political force, and she was just getting started. 3 days after her powerful speech, Crockett appeared on CNN's top evening show. The studio buzzed with anticipation, the audience applauded, the cameras followed her every move. And the host, known for his tough style, looked almost impressed this time. "Congresswoman Crockett," he began, "in the past 48 hours, you've become the most talked about political figure in the country. They're calling you the new face of the Democratic Party, the voice of justice, even the Republicans' nightmare. Were you prepared for such a reaction?" Jasmine offered a reserved smile. "I was prepared to speak the truth, and the fact that truth stirred such a reaction says less about me and more about how tired Americans are of lies and hypocrisy. What do you say to those who consider your style too aggressive?" Aggression is when you take away people's health care to give tax breaks to billionaires. Truth, that's what I spoke. I won't apologize for standing with the people. The show aired live, and the reaction was immediate. Social media exploded with a new hashtag, #Crockett for the people. And rumors began to swirl about her possible Senate run in the next cycle. In the halls of Capitol Hill, Democratic colleagues whispered, she could lead the caucus, or maybe become vice president. No, she's too powerful to play second fiddle. But Crockett wasn't rushing with answers. She knew attention was a tool. The question was how to use it. Late that night at home, she took off her blazer, sat in her chair, and looked out the window. Outside, Washington buzzed, a city where loud words are spoken daily. But tonight she knew, behind her words was something more. Not anger, not ambition, but truth. Simple, heavy, and therefore undeniable. And in that moment, she knew the road ahead would be more than a fight. It would be history. The end.